So to take a picture or what?
No, just a tape recording. See, today is February 22nd, 1983. This is Joe Todd, interview with Mr. Israel Slutzky, S-L-U-T-S-K-Y.
K-Y.
T-Z-K-Y, I'm sorry. Would you spell your last name again, please?
S-L-U-T-Z-K-Y.
Z-K-Y, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Slutzky, where were you born?
In the state of Minsk.
That's in the Soviet Union?
Yeah.
And when's your birthday?
November the 5th, 1902.
Who is your father?
Louis Slutzky.
Louis?
Louis, L-O-U-I-S.
And who is your mother?
Vichne. Vichne, your name was Vichne Slutzky.
Okay. How do you spell the first name?
V-W, I guess. I-C-H-N-E.
And they're both from...
My mother died in my hometown. My hometown was Lachwa, small town.
Yeah.
And Spanier wiped out the 1942 was wiped out all by fire, all the Jewish settlement in town.
Was that when your mother was killed?
No, my mother was killed in 1919.
1919.
And I explain it to you, 1917, the revolution was over... was over in Russia, and I had an older brother, Moses, his name, and he got sick and he died in 1970. He was 2 years older than me.
Did he die in Russia?
Yeah, 1917 during the revolution.
Oh, was he in the revolution?
No, he died sick, and he was sick for a couple of months, 16 days, and he died. He died from typhoid fever.
What is the name of your hometown?
Lachwa.
Lachwa.
It's a small town.
L-A-T?
L-A-C-H V-A-W-A.
Okay. What did your father do?
He was a little farm that was called, I don't know which they call it in this country, truck farm. He has a piece of land, approximately 10 acres.
Okay.
And after he married, after my mother married, and he went came to Lachwa. He served in the Russian army, and I suppose he got a discharge, and a year or two, he got married. He got married in 1899, and he's come to Lachwa, and he's rented a house across the river. He always outskirts of town. There are little few houses scattered, and he rented from a Polish woman, and he has a house and a piece of land, a tract land. The house was, she lived in a house, a very nice home, suppose 7, 8 rooms was in there, and he painted some kind of gold color, yellow, a dark yellow, some kind of. The shutters were white, painted, and he's got a tract land. In an office, his house, there was room, the front room, a pair of rooms, the officers were the chief police, and he also occupied a couple rooms to 3 rooms across the hall in the house, additional. And she was a widow woman. We lived in a couple rooms, 3 rooms in the last one is a house. And a small orchard, she's got a small orchard, 6 or 8 trees.
What kind of trees?
Apple trees or pears, and in the had a nice yard. In the backyard, she had a threshing machine, and she had a barn, and the threshing machine was of wood. The big wheel 40, 50 feet in diameter, built up high, shaped like a dish, a tall dish, and it is standing in the bottom. The bottom was narrow, and the top was approximately small valves all around, and he had a wooden bar, a log across the bottom, and was hitched 4 horses, 2 horses in the one side, 2 horses on the other side, and they were going in a ring around, and a few wheels. I remember a big wheel, attached to the wall, and this wheel is worked. The big wheel worked in this wheel. I don't remember which the connected. On the bottom was little boots, and they deposit the grains, 2 packs.
Yeah. From the grain from the chaff?
Two packs, bundles, the grain. And I opened it up, I do the top, and he loosened it and throw it in, and the works 10 minutes. I noticed on the bottom of the train, there were wheels in the back, and pedals, und die knocking back and forth the straws, und till they get ready for 10 minutes, it was ready, and they opened the door, the little doors on the floor, and the door for God compartment was the straws. So the peasants pick the straws and throw in the yard, and the father the apartment, and come as the grains in the powder, the pieces of straws, and they worked on it a half a day or more, and they completed the threshing, and she had a standing metal machine from here to the wall, a metal machine, and was a compartment. They took a bushel grain from the powder with the straws, and would deposit in the container on the top, and the handle was the side. They turned the handle a few times, and the comes out after a while. Took him a few minutes, and the grain would come out clear, nice, clear, pure grain on the floor. The floor, a piece of floor was nestful, paved for nestful. So they could floor, and the straws and the powder from the comes on another compartment used to come out, and the peasants used to pick up the sack and the grain, the pure, and put it in a sack, and took him out half a day to thresh it out, and they gave her as much as money or other grain, a little grain in payment, and he in the yard, it was a nice yard and orchard, and back from the orchard was a garden, about approximately 10 acres. Yeah. And my father used to rent this piece of land, and the piece of land was alfalfa.
Alfalfa?
Yeah, and the rest of it to plowed up in the patches, small patches. The approximately 15 feet, at 20 feet or 25, and 30 feet, some of long, and a yard a yard was wide, and the after on the side from the other page, they call it razore, a passage, between the pieces.
A path between the
pieces patch, and he's planted. He planted cucumbers and the beets and carrots and the little corn in the side, and the onions, a big patch. Nog a few articles in the vegetables.
Yeah. And how big was Lachwa, the town?
And I heard that they had 8,000 the population, and in the town itself, and there was 1,300 people, more. Others can say maybe they had 3 synagogues.
3 synagogues?
Yeah. And they were packed on the Saturdays and Friday night. On the Saturdays, they were packed, and they packed with people and the worshippers. And the churchyard was 3 synagogues, and the bet house built from brick, and additional building. The additional building, I never went inside. The additional building was for children. They called it amatere. They pick it up a few, 10 or 15, and poor children, they can afford it. Hire a teacher. The higher teacher, they taught in Hebrew, daven to write and to. The more able people hired the private teachers. They had a school. This is had a school, and a school built near the hall. And the Jewish people haven't attended, because the school is very closed all summer. Closed in the winter months. He used to teach. A teacher, they had a teacher. He used to teach boys. I figure approximately from 30 to 40 kids. They had at school, and the peasant kid, and the whole population was a peasant. They had a track. Everyone had a tract of land in the outskirts of town. In addition to the tract of land, they had a piece of alfalfa, 5-6 acre, and the alfalfa 5-6 acre each, and they also I don't know if positive, approximately 20 acre a piece of land. They planted pompernik. They call it the blackbird bread.
Blackbird bread?
Black,
Pumpernickel.
yeah, pumpernickel.
Yeah.
Some restaurant so have it in this country, the big cities, and their population was 100 families or 120, and the people near half and half Jewish people and peasant, and the majority of them and the illiterates. It were 1 out of 10 was going to school. Huh?
These are the peasants?
Peasant. And the educated one was a few, as most of his educated Russians, and the police, and they had a bunch of people working in the railroad. They operated in the railroad depot. They was very educated also.
What was the literacy rate among the Jewish people in Lachwa?
Everyone was educated. Yeah. Everyone was able to write a little and sign his name, to write Hebrew. And the teachers also taught him the Russian language.
Are there still 3 synagogues in Lachwa?
No, a person by my brother brought 2 girls, 3rd cousin, from Russia. They've been here 3 years. The older one was 5 years, 5 or 6 years, and she's a nurse. She was working in the hospital. They first came to Israel, their parents and these 2 girls, and they lived there 2-3 years or 4 3 years or 4 years, and they didn't like it. And my brother visited there, and the girls is distant relative, 3rd cousins. Uncle David, my father's brother, was a little older, 13 years than my father. And he was a prosperous merchant in the city. Also had 8 children, all of them good looking and all of them good health. And my father was poor. Served in the army. 3 years after he discharged in the army, he rented a tract of land, and he raised vegetables. And in summer, he carried one of them 30 miles the horse and wagon. He's got 30 miles from this town in the city to the other cities to sell cucumbers. Aloyd.
Yeah.
And in the Jewish people, a lot of them went to America.
When did they come to America, a lot of them?
By the time I was 5 or 6 years, and 10 years from now, but while It was 13, 40 years before the First World War started. This started at the World War in 1914. Pretty often, a bunch of pick it up and they went to America. And those who they had the jobs stayed there. And there was a shortage of jobs.
When were the synagogues in Lachwa destroyed during the war?
They destroyed it during the war. They haven't destroyed. They haven't been destroyed in 1942.
Oh.
And
by the German occupation?
By German occupation. The Polish, the Germany started a war with Poland in 1939 and occupied Poland. And Poland held 3 states of Russia. In 1917, Poland was for hundreds of years a part of Russia. And during the 1917 revolution, Russia released the army. The Bolshevik, they wouldn't fight anymore. They wouldn't fight anymore after the revolution broke out. And the Polish people, Poland, and they declared independence of Russia. And in addition, they occupied 3 states, Minsk and Grodno and Volynski gubernias state. 3 states Russian occupied, and they held it in 39 until 39. And the Germans declared war in Germany in 1939, occupied for whole Poland. And 3 states, the Russian, the Russian state, 3 states of they call it Belarus, White Russia. This state occupied it, Russia, they didn't took it. But Polish cities and state, they took it over Poland, took it. And the in 1940, the Russians very strong. Built an army, but then they invaded this state and he took it back to these 3 states. The Russians took it back. They took it back from Poland, and in 1942, in the Germans. He jumped also in 1941. They jumped on Russia. And
that's when Germany invaded Russia?
Germany invaded Russia. It covered more than half of Russia. Except Siberia and the other parts. She invaded also the Baltic state that belongs to Russia. They occupied. And the Russian people, they were in Russia and Poland 6 million Jews before the invasion. And after the invasion, the Russia count 2,100,000 Jews left.
That's over half of them.
More than half of them gone.
Yeah.
It's killed.
That includes most of the Jewish people in Lachwa?
They gathered all the Jews in Lachwa, some other cities, and likewise they gathered the cousins. I had in Lachwa a cousin of mine, the oldest daughter, my uncle David, moved away in the war in another town, Mosir. It's called Mosir, approximately 100 and. House. The two girls. Last summer, their parents come over here from Sweden for a month. They stayed here in town. They visited. And the husband, of my cousin, visited small towns in Russia, and he visited Lachwa, the town of. He says that the black burned out the whole town, and in the market was full with stores, houses, nothing for blocks, nothing. When it stands a black horse, somebody
A black cross.
in the marketplace, where was years in the marketplace. Somebody put it up a cross in the middle of the market.
How come a black cross?
So a sign of mourning.
Yeah.
As a sign of mourning.
How come your father came to this country?
Explain it to you. She has a garden, a vegetable garden. He didn't make much money from the garden. He make a living, and he's been there 10 years. 10 years he held it. After it somehow happened, I don't know if she's the one to rent it. She's the one to rent it anymore. So my father went in town near her and bought her house.
Okay. When did he come to this country?
In 1910.
1910.
And he bought the house in 1999. I remember when we first was but near 7 years old, and my mother took me with her to go in the new house, and there was an older woman and a young girl of 15 or 20. and moved into the other house. My father didn't stay, and about a year, and the summer of 1910, after Passover, and he picked it up. He could make a living, and he went to America, and he came to Oklahoma City, and peddle around the oranges with fruit in Oklahoma City, and he went. My father, well, religion, used to read the Torah, the shul, in the every Saturday, and he's come to Oklahoma City, ask a man, a rabbi of Oklahoma City, she recommended him at the town, and he wanted to daven Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. And the rabbi recommended him Shawnee.
Shawnee?
Yeah. So I went to Shawnee, and he davened there the Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and these people in town, some of its people in town, found him a job in the Rock Island shops, the Rock Island Railroad shops, and I worked about a year and a half or more, and later while he went in business for himself, and he was in Shawnee till 1927. Although I left Shawnee, I come over to Shawnee in 1920 with my two brothers, younger, and my sister, 4 of us. And my brother, oldest brothers, died in 1917 in Russia. And the Russians occupied our state, Polish Legion occupied our state in 1919, and they held it ever since. They held it in the territory up till the 1939. The Germans jumped off him.
How come your father came to Oklahoma?
He didn't came to Oklahoma. He came. Somebody made in 1910. The immigrants of all immigrants, the ships comes to New York. New York.
Right.
Landed in New York.
In Ellis Island.
Ellis Island, yeah. In 1910, somebody made it, stole the ships, the immigrant, they should come to Texas, to Galveston, Texas. And my father, instead of coming to New York, and the ships, he came on a German liner from Bremen, Germany. The ships came to Galveston, and then loaded the immigrants in in Galveston, there was the Jewish committee from New York had sent it in, they registered him and tried to find a job for him, and they didn't stay there. My father and another few men didn't stay there very few days, and they shipped them in from Galveston to Oklahoma City.
And then you came to Shawnee in 1920.
1920.
How come you came over?
My mother was sick, and she died in 1919, and it was nothing doing there, and it wasn't no prospect for me of a job, and that's all I had, the house, so I came, I sold the house, and before I came, Russian was letting too hard to come to Russia. Poland occupied the state house, had a chance to get away, and I sold the house. Another thing, the Jewish man, and I took the money for a few dollars, and I came to another town, 7 miles from our town. There was living my aunt. She wasn't a aunt. She's my mother's grand aunt. She was my mother's aunt. She was a grand aunt. Nice woman, friendly. Till tell him goodbye, and the railroad, the railroad in town very slightly damaged. The Russians got away, stepped out the left, they blew the bridges.
Was these the Bolsheviks or the?
Yeah, Bolsheviks. They didn't have an army. There were so few civilians wearing civilian clothes, volunteers, and before they got out of town, horseback riding, they said the bridge, wooden bridge across the river, blew it and tear it up a hole 3 feet long, 3 feet wide to do it out. They also damaged the railroad. They didn't blow the bridges, cost a fortune to construct another one. They slightly damaged them. The steel bridges, the railroad bridges, but they still, in many towns, most of the towns, they damaged them. So the Polish, they chased him out there, and this was 1919. In 1920, Poland settled, the Polish soldiers settled already in me, and it went far, 120 or 30 miles. east is occupied but near the whole state of Minsk. Was a strategic point, the river, there was a river, big river running before there was Mozir, a town slightly bigger than it was twice as big as our town. The called Mozir, this was our county seat, and in the Russians were stationed there, the left, and the Polish on the other side, the river. There was, I couldn't remember the river. The Russian, the strategic point, they stood at 1939. But in the Poland, in the 1920, the Russians managed to call it volunteers in training. They released the army and the prisoners from the war, so they didn't have no soldiers. So they appealed for volunteers, and they raised an army of volunteers. And in 1920, in the summer, by the month of June, when there was a packing to leave that town on a way to Warsaw. And I heard in the town the Russians coming back. And for my town and the Dnieper River was a strategic point between the Russian state and the Polish. And for a word, before I left that town, I heard the Russians coming back.
Why were they coming back?
They want to take it to the land they are back. The Minsk
was occupied by Poland.
Minsk, the state, the largest city is Minsk. Minsk, the state, and the state is also called Minsk. And the state, the majority Russians. I doubt if there is 10% Polish people living in the state. Most of them are Russian, and they have a pretty good size Jewish population.
Now, today?
No, now they killed them out. Now I don't know. No, I read in the paper the Jewish correspondent from the Yiddish papers in New York. She wrote a letter. some estimate as the Jewish people Minsk half what it was years ago, and I doubt it half, less than half, because they killed out. That's a very people change it, they run away to the woods, they save themselves, and the rest of it they killed them. And before I left in the 1920, I heard the coming back, and he packed some of the baggage, and I stopped down to say goodbye to your aunt, and the river, the main river, runs it about a mile from town, about a half a mile. And I took the baggage and my brothers and sister, and I went away. The baggage waiting is a steamboat, the Topeko soap. I waited all afternoon, and in the evening they hidden it and they showed it up. And we remained sleeping outside under the sky. A miracle. It was rain. It was rain, and I moved away from the river so I can roll in the river. I fall asleep, and for all night we went the banks of the river. We slept. We lay down, and tomorrow morning, our boat, steamboat, showed up, and they picked us up, and they carried us in about 100 miles, a small town called Minsk. Minsk is a little bit 5,000 or 6,000 population district where they had a wholesale dry goods stores, a wholesale flower plant. The people, the Jewish people from the smaller towns surrendering used to come to the town buying groceries and the groceries and dry goods and many articles, and they settled in the town. I don't know, to 3 weeks or 4 weeks we stayed. It's necessary documents on a pass to proceed further, and we after 3 weeks or 4 they went away, and I stopped in the war before they came to Warsaw. I stopped in a town, Brest-Litovsk, they call it. This town, a small city, and I also went to town stamp my pass to proceed further. And finally we come to Warsaw, and it's a big city, beautiful town, and we stayed there almost 6 weeks or 2 months, and the Jewish charitable agency, they were supplying the immigrants information how to travel, and we stayed there, I don't know, a week, a month or 6 weeks, and in the town, in the city, by the time the Russians were advancing, and the Polish were retreating, the Russians were 40 miles from Warsaw. And the embassy staffs from foreign countries left, and they were left town, the city, and they gone to Danzig. Danzig used to be a German city, a free city. After the war, they went to there, and the illegal immigrants and the officers also were moved to the Danzig. And at Danzig, I lived there a month or so before I got money from America from my father. And the beginning, I used to shuffle coal. You shuffle that.
What, the cars?
The cars.
You swept out cars?
You know, for a short time, you used to load cars, load coal cars, box cars, and most of there was in mechanics also. They didn't have no crew. They have the crew, but 30 people or 40 the most. They entered in strike. The Shawnee, the whole system, the Rock Island, the workers on strike in 1922, and they lost the strike. The company put it on civilian strike breakers, and the strikers went to another town to get jobs.
Yeah. What was, you say there was a doctor in Oklahoma City that or did your father have a sponsor?
The sponsor, I had No, it's a sponsor. Shawnee is a remember a sponsor was it in he took any immigrants.
But who told your father to come to Oklahoma City?
No,
No.
They had a special committee in the Galveston.
Oh, okay.
They receive him and the migrants, they booked him and they, from other towns, they come, say, what is the occupation.
So the Jewish community here knew that your father was coming?
I don't know. And so my father told me they stood long, a couple days, 2-3 days, and they registered him and they shipped him in here, here, Oklahoma City.
Then he went to Shawnee to work for the Rock Island.
Yeah.
Sweeping out cars. He worked a couple months or 2 months in Oklahoma City, Berlin, Los Angeles, and then he comes holidays, and he went to Shawnee to daven for them, do Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, and after the Yom Tovim, the Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, some of them people they found him a job at the Rock Island shops, and he worked in Rock Island more than a year and a half. A year and a half. How big is Ellis Island?
Ellis Island?
Yeah, where you came in, Ellis Island, how big is it?
No, he occupies about the square block. It's about,
and how long did you stay on Ellis Island?
I don't know, from 5 to 7 days, a week, I believe.
And you say the doctors came on ship and examined you before you got off?
They looked at me and they examined. I bought a ship and they examined my brother, second brother, and they examined him in Ellis Island, and they tell him it's all right.
And you say that you had a sister that died?
She died in 1967. She lived with.
Oh, okay.
She lived with me. I had a home. It hadn't sold yet.
Mm-hmm.
My brother. My brother, my father, purchased in 1950, and I lived in the house for 32 years. My father lived with me in 1960. 1960 he died, and in 1952.
my sister come joined me. Joined. She lived 15 years.
What kind of
15
work
years.
did you do here?
And yeah,
Yeah.
I was a watchmaker.
I'm sorry?
A watchmaker.
Oh, watchmaker.
Yeah.
Did you have your own shop?
Yeah, I started my father had his own building in Shawnee in Main Street. And part of it he rented out, and also a store he held it for himself. They lived in the back store. They fixed it up, fenced in rooms. They lived in the back store, in the front store, and he had shoes, trousers, shoes. He had ordered, and he had also odds and ends to goods who bought it from people and in his store, and for a while the watchmaker stopped it, and he took it to cleaning watches, he sold rings, and it come to my mind. I was not strong, was pretty sickly boy, and I wouldn't get the idea to take it up myself, and I bought it for him. He's got a material little, and he's traveling watchmaker. He sold it to him. He sold it to me a little material, and I started my shop, and another old man came in the building, and his old man is 80 or more, an old watchmaker. He's got a set of tools on a bench, big bench, rolled up. He's moved in to me, to us in the store, and used to pick up a little work and repair, and he offered me to sell. I was going to buy new tools, to offer me to sell his, and he's old. If you wouldn't keep more working, and I bought it from him with the certain tools on the bench, and whenever he picked out a few jobs, I let him come in. He's down by the bench and he do it, and a little while longer, my father sent me to St. Louis, watchmaking school. I stayed there a half a year, 6 or 7 months.
What was the name of your father's shop in Shawnee?
Israel Slutzky. Before he stopped grocery, he used to buy junk. To buy iron, metal, brass, and copper. He buy paper in bottles, little bottles. They have small bottles in town. He used to load bottles
cars when you sell it, and used to lay the iron metal.
Did you ever see the Tsar in Russia?
No, my father seen him.
He did?
Yeah, my father seen him in the. You see, every year they had inspection. They on one time or a few, more than one time, in the inspection, and they see they come to camps. The Tsar of Russia he came to camps. They inspecting the soldiers. He by himself. He had commanding generals and officials, and my father served in the army, the Russian army, 3 years, and he's very likely seen him. Likely seen him a few times, a number of times.
When did the Bolsheviks shoot the Tsar? What year? What year did the Bolsheviks shoot the Tsar?
The revolution started in 1917.
Right. And when did they shoot the Tsar?
They occupied it. They held him for a few months. In a year, I don't know.
What was your first thought when you found out that the Tsar had been shot?
They killed him. They don't kill him right away. They had him for I wouldn't be surprised. I heard in this country. When I came to the United States, I heard this. They put him to death. That is his family. I haven't heard it in Russia. I heard that they took him off. They took him off of the train. He was traveling. The army camps, in inspecting the soldiers, and they took him off of the train. The Revolutionary Committee. They took him off of the train. And they didn't kill him right away. They held him arrested for a year or two or more. And at least I didn't hear their voice. And in 1919, in Polish soldiers invaded our state and took it over. Yeah. Took it over, seized the state, and also I never heard kill him.
Were you saddened by the news, or what?
I heard the revolution, the march. My brother died the second day of the second day after Jewish Passover, and the Chevre Kadisha, the Holy Boreal Society, you call them the undertaker, the small towns that have no undertaker. When a mensch, a male, if died, the man comes a few men, the line that belonged to the Holy Boreal Society, and they wash him, they wash the body, they clean him, and they sort of canvas broadcloth, canvas a bag, they put in the dim, and they stand. They have a stand, standing in the churchyard, and they put the body in the stand, and they took a wooden stand, and they carry him. To the cemetery. The cemetery was approximately 5 blocks or 6 blocks, 5 or 6 blocks down, 7 blocks, and they buried him. And they didn't put him in a coffin. The Gentiles used to put him on the box, a box, and they brought the Jewish people. They were a man, it's a woman. They sewed up from broadcloth a sack, a bag, and they put it in the bag, and the man was in the grave, and they had lumber to the side the lumber shaped already for the purpose. And the body they laid line in they put the lumber of his body. The side way to the side to lumbers and to the boards, the eye, the shaped art it covers and the covered up, and the cover up lumber, and the shovel on the dirt, and the shovel all the dirt till they finish it, the grave. I don't know, and the graveside services didn't attend much, and they happens a woman, female, a woman, the bunch of women that attended her. Attend.
Not to change the subject, do you have a brother that lives in Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Aaron. Yeah. He lives a block away from the synagogue. It's It's the 46th Street. He lives at 46th Street in the back, in the entrance of the synagogue is just 47th Street, and also the rear here also in an interest, and the interest in the rear is 46th Street.
It's almost time to go. Did ye do any work for the war effort during World War II?
For the war,
No, when we were fighting the Germans and the Japanese?
I was in the army. I was drafted in the World War II, and they sent me Camp Fallas, Texas. They sent me to Fort Sill. Fort Sill was a week for Sill, and they give me a lot of clothes and shoes, and had fitted in I had 2 bags full of clothes, and I stayed a week, and after they put it in this train, and this ship put the out in Camp Fallas, Texas.
Did you serve did you go into combat during the war?
No, the teachers, the guns, the rifle, the rifles.
Did you go overseas?
No. I stayed here. They don't send me to the combat. At the point, I was pulling KP, and the other folks, they work in the army, and they teach the teachers the drill often, be the rifles, march.
What was your reaction when you heard about the Holocaust in Europe?
I can't help it. And I was my father and me. We had a little grocery store in Capitol Hill, and the wartime, the war started. The war started by father bought a grocery. He intended to be for my sister and her husband, and they stayed here. They stayed a half a year. It's on the southwest 22nd into Capitol Hill, and they stayed there a half a year. My sister, her husband, and she's pregnant. She was pregnant with the son, a boy, and she's sick. She was sick. It's a poor neighborhood, rough neighborhood where the grocery store, and she was sick. I was at that time. It was 39. It was 39. And I was in Chickasha. My brother Aaron had a drugstore in Chickasha. And he He's there for 36 years. One corner. One corner. In fact, he bought it at the drugstore. And he was helping Mama now. At that time, he had no job, so my father, my sister, they gave her the grocery avec un credit, and my sister was sick. She took her husband a trip to Detroit. All their children, their children, my sister's children, are born in Detroit. They were born in Detroit. My sister married in 32. I was that time in Arizona, and she wrote me a letter, come over to, well, I want you to stand up to my wedding. And I had a bench and a showcase and a safe repairing watches. I had a watch repair shops. I sold it, the bench and the showcase and the safe, and I started it Detroit, and it was in Detroit. 1932. My sister got married, and her husband was a sign painter. No, he couldn't paint a sign. A painter, common painter, paint houses, and then my father, after the wedding, my father helped him to open up a food store, and they bought him a truck, a new truck, and to hold vegetables and food, and he didn't stay there. He stayed there a few months. He sold the truck and went tricks back to his painting.